honest. Nothing but the truth, yeah. Nothing but the truth, yeah. Honesty, CJ, honesty. CJ, honesty, CJ, honesty. CJ, honesty. Just being honest, nothing but the truth.
Here on CJ Honesty, we will not tolerate the following: disrespect of religious beliefs, sexual orientation, sexism, racism, and colorism. All the isms, alright? Thank you.
Today's topic, we will be talking about racism and police brutality, and just giving our thoughts and about what's going on in the world right now in regards to the topic. First, we're going to be sharing our personal stories about what we experienced with racism in our life, and we'll move on to our thoughts on police brutality and other things we've been talking about the past 3 weeks, actually, ever since George Floyd passed away, or his murder. It's been a lot of things going on. And then we're going to end it with some ideas on ways we can maybe possibly come up with some solutions to stopping police brutality. But police brutality is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many other issues that we have to solve, but after 400 years, that's a lot. It's very deep rooted. So first, we're just going to share our stories now, and yeah.
So I guess I will give my story first on police brutality. Luckily, mine was not violent in a sense. You might find part of it a little comical. So, coming from my church that is in Camden, New Jersey, by the way, it's called Powerful Life.
It's in Camden.
Yeah.
Okay.
Camden is currently at the Kroc Center. Of course, the Kroc Center, Salvation Army Center, is closed right now because of the pandemic that we have going on right now. But you can certainly research that and see if you would like to attend the service once everything is over with. We do have a Zoom meeting as well that we have on Sundays, so you can definitely DM us at CJ Honesty on Instagram if you have any questions about that. But let me tell you about how I was coming from my church. At the time, we had a building in Camden, a Pacific building, and I had just moved to New Jersey, originally coming from Chicago, so I was new to the area of New Jersey. So as I was coming from Camden, I was driving to the area of Burlington. I got off around the exit, probably halfway, because I needed gas. I seriously needed gas. So I got off on a random exit, which you're really not supposed to do. Anybody who travels a lot, no, you shouldn't get on any random exit because it's dangerous to do anyway. But I did that because I needed gas. So I got off, seeing the gas sign there, and after I came from getting gas, I was about to get on the exit to get back on the highway. I was using the GPS because, again, I wasn't used to the area. I was just really using the GPS just to find my way to get back on the highway. Once I got on the highway, I would pretty much know where I was going. So, but I did not make it to that exit. A police cop pulled me over, and she asked me for my license and registration. Keep in mind, I had my twin sister in the passenger side, and I had my little brother and sister who's about, I believe, 10 years younger than me. So at the time, I believe they were 12 and 13, I believe. So I was driving at the time a Chrysler 300 that was my dad's car, and she said that she wanted my license and registration. Of course, I gave that to her. She asked me if I could step outside of the car. I asked her, I told her certainly I would, but I would also like to know, if I asked her if there was a problem.
Yeah.
And she said that she would give me more details later, but that I basically fit the description of. Now here's the comical part, because I don't know if she was trying to be funny or not, but she said I basically fit the description of somebody who just robbed a KFC restaurant.
What?
And
Wow.
so I robbed. So I basically, she was saying I fit the description of that the car looked similar, and it was a black male apparently that robbed the KFC. So she had me stand behind my car, and she told me to wait there. So I waited there. As I'm waiting, 6 cop cars pull up.
6 though.
Six cop cars pull up, and so they begin to start asking me questions like, where was I headed to, and everything. And before I even said anything, she had already told them that I was using the GPS. So obviously, I'm thinking in my head, I'm using a GPS. So obviously, somebody who's robbing a place isn't about to take the time to turn on their GPS. They're just gonna drive away. But anyways, though, they proceeded to talk amongst each other, just random general conversation with each other. It wasn't even about what was going on really, and they had me sit on the sidewalk. They said they wasn't going to detain me. I guess they was gonna, in their mind, doing me a favor by not handcuffing me, making sure I'm not gonna run away or anything. So they had me sit on the sidewalk. Mind you, it's December, so it's 30 degrees outside. Everybody's pretty much cold.
Yeah.
And we sat out there for at least 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
40 minutes. And
That's
and then I don't know why they waited till the point where they got the call from whoever their dispatcher was that they found the person. But we waited there 40 minutes until they found the other person who apparently fit the description. Now, again, I say this is, in my experience, I would say that it was police brutality, because you don't know. I didn't know, basically. The whole thing didn't make sense to me, because if I have my little brother and sister in the car, I got the GPS on, it's common sense that it adds up that I'm not the person that you're looking for. So at that time, I think you're just pretty much just being ignorant of the fact, or you're holding somebody else's time up. C, do you want to give us one of your stories that you have on police brutality?
Well, mine is more on racism and I feel it was harassment. Actually, it was harassment. So so my experience that was significant to me happened after I moved from Trenton to South Jersey, where I live now. Okay, so I wanted everyone to get the feel of how I felt during that time. So, in Trenton, if you're from Trenton, it's a lot of people who live there are, Hispanic and black people mostly. So when I moved to South Jersey, I moved to a predominantly white neighborhood. So I wasn't used to seeing all these white people. I was used to a certain type of environment. But I adapted to the environment okay, but it was a tough time because I did not know anyone. I was a new student. I knew the new kid on the block. So that's where I was at that time. So one day I was just in class minding my business, and in the class there were just 2 black students, including me. So me and It was just me and another student. And I was told to go to the main office. I'm not sure if I was walked there or I went there myself. But all I remember was that when I went there was a white police officer. It was a guy too. And I don't think he worked at the school, so I never seen him before. So I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. So then he took me into a separate room and started questioning me. And during that time, I was very shy and like quiet. So I was like, why am I being brought here? I thought someone ratted on me or lied on me or something, but I didn't speak up, and I wish I did. But he started asking questions, personal questions like where I live and who I lived with. And I felt intimidated, so I answered a few of the questions. If you know me, you know that. If you know me now, you know that I would have questioned why he was asking me all these questions. So I was finally sent back to class. So I told my parents, and my mom did not hesitate to go up to that school. She questioned the main office, was like, what about the situation, and she was like, why? I don't know what she said, but she pretty much told them off, and it never happened again.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized during that time I didn't really think of it, but now I realize that's illegal. You cannot question a minor without a parent present with you. So that was illegal at the school. So through the school, I'm just like, wow. I was just baffled by it to this day that happened. And I've kind of, I've been thinking recently why that happened. I'm trying, like, I know why. I think I have a feeling why. But it still doesn't give right that they did that,
Right.
At first I thought it probably was racial profiling, whatever. But it's just about people having these connections, thinking they're entitled to do certain things, mostly white people, because they feel like, they can do whatever they want. And that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
It's very irritating.
Mm-hmm. So let's give our thoughts right now on everything that's been going on since George Floyd, the murder of him about 3 weeks ago. My thoughts are multiple ones. Pretty heavy thoughts on that how we can fix things going forward. Can racism end? Is racism an ever-going thing? Where it's, I kind of think about it in a question form. Do everyone think that it's possible to end racism once and for all, or do you think it's something that's always going to be there? I think it's saddening to think about police brutality because I do believe that there is probably some good cops out there, but just like anything, when you have a group of, I guess you can call it spoiled fruit and a bunch that ruins the whole batch, basically. Mm-hmm. And it's hard for people to look at the thing as a whole as being positive when you have so many negative things in there. Also, with racism being in schools, at your job placement, one of the things that I have been looking at recently is that with job applications, they basically ask you, are you black? Are you white? Are you Asian? If race doesn't really matter, then why would that even be a question in a job application? Those are some of the things that I think we just, as a nation, need to look at and revalue. Another thing that I think we need to look at as a nation is the jail system and the prison system.
That's a good one.
Yeah. With the reasons of people being in jail and in prison, and the sentence time for certain things. I think some of those things are unreasonable. I believe a lot of those reasons for going to jail or prison, you really, in my opinion, shouldn't be. It's not a jail or prison sentence. I think it's more of should be a community sentence because you're destroying your community. Let's just say somebody is selling marijuana, or let's say somebody got caught in their car with marijuana or some kind of drugs. My personal opinion is that you shouldn't go to necessarily to jail for those things. I think you should serve your community in some kind of way as a penalty for that, because I think that you're damaging your community.
Yeah.
I don't think you're actually hurting anybody. I think we should save those jail spots, if you will, or jail cells or prison cells for people who are actually dangerous individuals that shouldn't be on the streets.
Yeah.
Not to say that selling drugs isn't dangerous, but I believe it's more so on the level of endangering your community as opposed to physically hurting someone. I think we should save those jail cells and prison cells for people who are a threat physically, not just as a community base. Let them pick up trash for 2 weeks and let them be out of work. That'll be, to me, that's a good lesson in life. I sold drugs, now I gotta go clean up trash on the street for 2 months and not have a job. I think that's enough to let somebody rethink their life, as opposed to sending somebody to jail or prison in there with killers and murderers. I don't think that's necessary. I think there's levels to punishments. I don't think you should automatically put somebody in a box. I also think everybody should have a chance of redemption, depending on what their crime is.
So I want to go back to, I want to get into race, and I want to mention about what you said previously about, like, why is race on applications? And I've always wondered that too, because I'm like, I would ask the same question. Why, if it doesn't matter,
Race doesn't matter.
yeah, why put it on the application? So I think it's on applications because they want to meet every company or wherever you're applying to want to meet the status quo. Like, they're like, oh, we need a black person, so if you put you're black, then there you go. Or if you're Spanish or whatever. So that's why I think that's why they put that. They do on applications and all. They do say that that information is not used for hiring purposes, but I don't know about that. I'm like kind of iffy. I'm like, really? I've actually didn't put my race on applications intentionally, and I know that's kind of messed up. I'm proud to be black, but the thing is, I don't know. It just kind of makes you wonder, like, do they really go based on your race when they hire? To go and do the hiring process.
Right.
So I've thought about that, and that's definitely I don't know. I think they should just take that out, in my opinion. Also about what you said about how the jail system set up and with the drugs. So I mean, like, most people who go to jail for drugs are black people or black men. But in reality, a lot of white people use drugs, and most of them use the hardcore drugs like acid, heroin. It's some black people on that. You know what I mean? Like Molly. I mean, really, and that's, I think, when it comes to those drugs, that's kind of hardcore. That's hardcore. They should be in jail longer. That's how I feel. But it depends on the situation. But when it comes to police officers going to jail, they should put them in jail too. Right. Because they getting off from all these different cases. They're just going without pay, that's nothing. Really? That's unfair. I think it's unfair punishment. Like, you're not getting what civilians get when it comes to us breaking the rules, right? It should be the same across the board. So I think we need to, as a society, we need to reform the whole police, the whole
system for the
jail system, the prison system. We need to reform that. We need to also make changes in the education system when it comes to racism as well, and make sure that every student is getting the resources they need and the services they need as well. Also, we need to reform, what else? We need to reform a lot of things that has been detrimental to our society for 400 years. It's been like this forever, but now, for some reason, the George Floyd murder just kind of popped everything off.
Yeah.
Everybody's like on 1,000. It went to 0 to 1,000.
Yeah.
First it was the COVID-19. That was a pandemic. Now we're in another pandemic. It's 2 pandemics going on. Right? So you have a lot of things happening. And I feel like we need to rethink what we should do. Okay, we're doing the protests. I am for the protests, and like everybody's getting their voices heard. But now we're doing that. That can continue. But now let's start forming groups, right? And rethink strategies and ways of actually putting putting how you feel into action. And I'm talking about in the justice system, like with the laws and stuff.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So after you rethink, you respond to what's happening, and with not just react, but you respond to with a plan, with goals, and then you respond with whatever you come up with a group, and then you go to the mayor in your area, wherever you live, with your goals and present them to them. Hopefully, whoever the board members are, then that's when the rebuilding starts and the reforming laws starts. And then repeat. It's just a cycle like that, and that's what I think needs to happen. Also, besides that, I feel like black people especially need to protect themselves and get strapped up. That's what I think. And the reason why I'm saying that, I'm not
strapped up.
Wait, let me tell you. No, this is serious. Like, we gotta get strapped up. I'm not condoning violence, but the reason why I'm saying that, because it's recently what I've been hearing about black people getting hung. That's very disturbing to me. And those are not suicide. No one cannot tell me those are suicides. I know yes. I never heard any black person would do something like
from a tree.
And that's public view. No one does. Usually most people do in a private area. They leave maybe a suicide note. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And they ruined them as being suicide. I'm telling you, we gotta look out for ourselves. It's not safe right now. That's why I'm saying that. So,
gotcha. And
that's why I feel like we need to do that. And everybody else too, but especially black people. You know what I'm saying? So it's getting crazy out there. You know, and we don't want to keep having cases of George Floyd and all that. It's been ever since George Floyd passed away, there's been other people passed away as well. It's just like, when will it stop? That's my question. So if we about to ride this out, we gonna ride this out, y'all. We have to do this not just in 2020, but we need to do this and beyond. We need to keep doing it and just keep striving in achieving our goals for what we want for the next generation, for our kids' generations, for their kids' generations. This is like a generational, like we need to break this.
Mm.
This is definitely a generational thing, and it's been happening for 400 years now. So maybe this year may be the change that we will see that has sparked, in this year.
New.
Yeah. It's just different. It's just, for some reason, it's just different. It's coming different. Because, of course, with social media and all that, this all started really, everybody started really talking about it online and stuff back in 2014 with, who was the first one, Eric Garner?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when it started picking up momentum over social media. So, how long has that been? That's what, 6 years or something?
Yeah, I believe so.
Like,
wasn't Trayvon Martin?
No, it was Eric Garner.
Eric Garner.
Yeah. One of them, Eric Garner or Trayvon Martin. But it's been like a couple years now, so maybe this year, after George Floyd, maybe this will be different. Mm-hmm. I just hope that. I'm praying praying every day. Mm-hmm. It's been very mentally drained as well. I want to mention that, we need to take care of ourselves mentally, because this can get to you. If you keep listening to it, keep reading up on things, even watching the news and all, this can get to us. And it is such thing as black trauma.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think as black people, we have a stigma. I'm guessing it's because of our proudness, our pride. But a lot of black people don't like going to see counselors. I think I would encourage people to go out there and see counselors if you're feeling depressed or suicidal. Of course, you stay prayed up. Of course, you stay with God, but also your mental needs taken care of as well. And I think it's definitely okay. You have to know that it's okay to do that. Counseling, it's okay to talk to somebody. It's okay to have friends. I know that's something popular nowadays. To say on social media that I don't have any friends, I don't get along with my family, and that's actually very toxic. I know it sounds cool to say that, but we need to get out of that mentality of it being cool not to be around anybody or not having anybody. As humans, we definitely need one another. As black people, we definitely need one another. I think we're created to need one another. We're created for communication, for having a bond with one another, for being able to talk with one another.
Yeah, we need a support system, right? Especially right now, with a lot going on. And so we're gonna move on to what we feel could be solutions, possibly.
Yeah.
There's been a lot that has been discussed online, especially. So I'll just say what I feel should be the solution. So first, I think moving forward, if you want, maybe create groups in each of your community to help and form changes locally. I think that will be a start. And then with your group, make sure that you have goals that are achievable. That are like small goals. That everyone can achieve and work on, and also have a mission for your group. From there, you can contact the board members in your community, figure out who the mayor is, and who else, deputy mayor, all the board members. So from there, once you find out who they are, you can come up with your goal is a plan and then present it to them. And if they're on board with you, that it could go from there.
Cool.
Also, I also feel like not only you can do that, but also vote. Definitely register to vote. I know that people have opinions on voting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother. Well, I do want to mention it. So, I read that people not sure who to vote. It's important to research on those candidates. Obviously, we know who they are. Is who's running for them, or So some people are saying they don't like Trump, and some people are saying they don't like Biden, Joe Biden. So some people are saying, what's the point of voting if they're not sure who to pick?
Right.
Of course, you have a third party that's not really popular, but I feel like maybe get someone to be a candidate. For it is possible for as a for your state. Maybe each state can pick a candidate, or I don't know, and then support them. It is possible. If you ever seen Joe King, okay, and I'm thinking about something else. Joe King on Netflix, he tried running for president. I mean, it's not that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And you know how he was. He very radical.
Yeah.
So and he was doing the damn thing for real. And I was impressed actually with him doing. He was just a regular guy.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can do it, you can do. Else can do it.
Wow.
I don't know. I just thought about that.
Yes. You know what? I just got one big main solution.
Okay, let's hear it.
I would say for my white people out there, and I have some very close friends who are dear to me, like family. They are white people. Mm-hmm. I would say white people who are not racist need to speak up, I believe, because that is, I believe, the majority of how racism can end. I believe that's a big portion of or a percentage of what needs to be done for racism to end. I think white people who are not racist need to speak up to their white counterparts about what is being injusticely done to black people over the years. Mm-hmm. I believe black people do need to start getting some kind of things back to them. Not that things just need to be handed to us, but let's keep in mind as well that it's not necessarily that things are being handed to us. Let's remember that this nation was built on the backs of slaves, the backs of black people anyway. So it's not like you're really handing out anything to black people when we already did the work.
All that work, yep.
Mm-hmm. We already did the work. So there's no such thing as us having a handout per se. We're just getting back what we're already owed. So I believe that that's one of the big percentages, main things that need to be done. I think the white people that have in mind that you shouldn't see color, or have in mind that they have black friends that they love and it's dear to them, then speak out. It has to be done now.
I totally agree with you. I have nothing to add. And I just want to say, just stay safe out there if you're going to be protesting.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
So, I would say in this pandemic and what is going on right now in the world with racism, make sure that you stay prayed up. Make sure if you need to speak to someone that you get counseling if you need that. Make sure that you are eating as healthy as possible. Try to take this time to change your diet because your diet is a vast majority of your health and your mental health, whether you realize that or not. Take this time to value your friends, to make up with people that you think you should be making up with, that is possible to make up with. Make sure that you're valuing your family and your friends and your loved ones, because tomorrow is not promised. Nowadays, doesn't matter how old you are, somebody can be gone tomorrow, so you want to value that.
Value life.
Value life.
And that's that. Till next time on CJ Honesty.
Just being honest, nothing but the truth.